everyone. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Today's topic on our show, Building Confidence with Becky, is living wholeheartedly. I'm Becky, registered nurse and health coach here at External Affairs. My very special guest this morning is Holly Tibble. She is a registered psychologist here in St. Albert, and as well, she's certified to teach workshops based on books by Brené Brown, and I'll let Holly explain that a little bit. When I found out that you not only were a psychologist, but you also taught these workshops, I just got super excited. I know you've taught some workshops for Larissa at Lahara Yoga, and those workshops have been going over very, very well, and we just wanted to connect it all, and especially with our viewers. You know, we've been at sort of the cosmetic side of the business for 21, 22 years now, and something that I've noticed over and over and over again is so many women, well, not just women, men too, start off their lives, you know, full of energy in their 20s and go out into the world and they have ideas and dreams and all of these things, and then life starts to happen, and the mortgage payments and the career and the kids and the, you know, for a lot of our female clients, they just seem to lose themselves in that whole process, that 20 to 25 year period that kind of happens. And quite often I see them, they come in at 48, 49, 50, and they're very, they're torn, you know, because they do feel like they've lost themselves. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, is that a common age to see that, Holly? For that late, or I guess it can happen anytime, can't it?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely see it far more in women than men. And actually, I think you and hairstylists, all of you are therapists too, because people
we certainly are.
They trust you, they want to connect with you. So absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll get started here, and actually, maybe Holly, what we should start with is, who is Brené Brown, and why did you choose to be certified to teach her workshops?
She is a doctoral teacher in Texas, and what she did is look at the people who are living wholehearted, the people that seem to have it all together, and wanted to help people. And she uses a lot of her own experience. She's very down to earth, very practical, and kind of look backwards and see what are the skills that those people developed over their life in terms of having them be this way. So what I loved about her work is it's very authentic. She's really real, uses her own personal experience. And her premise is why apparently it looks like we show up here once. And why would we not live in a courageous, daring greatly way in this lifetime? And so I was really attracted to that in terms of, it's one thing to go to a therapist and they go, so that's how you're feeling. And it's another thing to be able to teach people skills and have them practice it in terms of creating their own life. And so it really gives them, it empowers them to be who they are. They're not dependent on me.
Okay, so you use the term daring greatly. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the books that she wrote. And you mentioned earlier that here in St. Albert you're wanting to create a daring greatly community. Right. Is that correct?
Right.
And so what does that mean?
So yoga, and Larissa's, you know, she's a dream herself, and what her studio stands for is I wanted to partner with her because yoga is very much a practice. And so how I see this work is not a one-stop shopping. It's a practice, and so I get to go back and practice things, and I call them redos. And so I can go back and try a new behavior, and if I'm not happy with it, I can kind of rewind and redo it. And so we're creating a community. We've had our first workshop that people were very excited about, and excited about being a part of something where they can keep growing. Mm-hmm. If they want more. Mm-hmm. They want more. And so by encompassing them in a community, it gives them some safety where people talk the same talk. And so it's a place that I like to go and keep learning about this. So I'm excited about that concept.
Okay, we'll provide some links to how to find out more about the workshops that are coming up and how they can contact you. So I'm gonna have Holly go through the 10 guideposts for wholehearted living, just kind of quickly on each point. And again, I've asked Holly to condense probably a week-long workshop into 10 minutes, but we're gonna run through it. So basically, I'll go step by step here. So number one is that we need to let go of what people think and cultivate
our own authenticity. And so actually, to just backtrack for a minute, this is probably a lifetime of work. And so I think over and over it shows up, and women are validated, and men coming together, because whether we like it or not, even though I might be a psychologist, I still can end up in traps where it matters to me what other people think.
Yeah, we're all victim of that.
Slide into that quickly.
Yeah.
And so her work is to really practice letting go of what other people think and spend more time on myself and being my authentic self.
Okay. Number two, letting go of perfectionism, and instead we want to cultivate
Self-compassion.
What does that mean?
Self-compassion is being gentle with myself. So talking to myself as though I was talking to someone I loved and cared about, and treating myself as someone I cared and loved also. So being gentle, being kind, doing practices like yoga, where I can go in and just let go of the world and just be with myself and healing myself.
Respecting yourself too, yeah. Number three is letting go of numbing and powerlessness, and instead cultivating
A resilient spirit.
a resilient spirit.
Yes, and I think that gives me confidence to know that I can be in my darkest times, and I have the resilience within me to rise up again, and
Okay.
And that sort of the confidence, the satisfaction of knowing that.
Okay. So if something does go wrong, having that strength to come out of it. Number four is letting go of scarcity and fear of the dark, and instead
Creating joy in our life and play. And I think one of the big fears is the scarcity, the living from a place of not enough. I don't have enough, I can never be enough. And having confidence that that's not where I want to be. And, coming from a place of I can't fail. I mean, even if I fail, I have myself. So it's like really creating gratitude every day and living in a place of gratitude.
I recently just heard a little quick interview with Tony Robbins, and he mentioned his whole thing about doing gratitude every morning, and he said that when you have gratitude in your heart, you cannot be angry, resentful, frustrated. And so I just thought that was interesting that I just watched that. The next item is letting go of the need for certainty, and instead cultivating intuition and trusting faith.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So we all have intuitions, and it's like an inner guide. And so sometimes though we get so caught up in everything else and the rush of life, we don't get silent enough to hear ourselves. And not only hearing ourselves, but listen to our guide, because that is our deepest inner self that knows our truth.
Is that where meditation would come into play?
Yeah.
Just being quiet enough to
hear it.
Yeah.
And then trusting it.
Okay.
Like when a red flag goes off, it's one thing to see it, hear it, feel it. It's another thing to listen to it.
Okay, interesting. Next one is letting go of comparison and instead cultivating creativity.
So comparison steals creativity and kills joy. So the minute I am looking over at what you're doing and comparing, I am stealing my own ability to create. Because
Okay.
suddenly I'm worrying about what you're doing instead of paying attention to what I'm doing.
Okay.
And
I think a lot of people can get caught on that one.
yeah,
Yeah. Next one is letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth, and instead cultivating play and rest. And this I really find interesting as a businesswoman. My whole life is work, 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 work. And when people come in and it's, you ask them, how are you? And they're like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm working so hard. And I'm thinking, we need to stop that.
Mm-hmm.
That is not something to be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that
That's
how?
a whole workshop right there.
I bet it is. So how do you go from that? Is it a thought process from, first of all, giving up on that and knowing that that's a wrong thought process?
Well, I think it starts from even a deeper place. What am I getting out of that? How am I creating self-worth? Kind of like, oh, woe is me, no one's working harder than me,
Mm-hmm.
I have no time for this. It can be an excuse too. I have no time, I'm running my kids here, running my kids there, I have no time for self-compassion.
Yeah.
And I always use in my practice too, the analogy of when you're on an airplane and they ask you to put on your oxygen mask and they
Yeah.
ask you to put yours on first. Because if you go down, you can't help your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we get that all messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And especially as mothers, it's easy to self-sacrifice, and it's all about the kids.
I see that a lot, and I think so many women then end up even on both sides, where they've got parents maybe that are starting to age and they're caring for them, but they've also still got kids at home, and it's really, you get caught in the middle as being sort of the servant
Mm-hmm.
to many. So
the emotional provider.
yeah, so that leads us right into the next one, letting go of anxiety as a lifestyle, and instead cultivating calm and stillness. And I think again that ties to the previous one where we're all walking around, everyone's uptight.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we do that?
I think those are the most common two things now that I see in my practice is anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
And we've given up slowing down, and like you're taking a deep breath, that even feels good. And I'm sure that's kind of what you see in here too, people grasping for things to have some relief.
Mm-hmm.
To have some relief.
Yeah, I think sometimes, medications can temporarily help, but if people aren't working on all
What's
of
underneath
this, yeah, they're going to be set up for maybe a lifetime, of dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9 is self-doubt and supposed to, and cultivating meaningful work.
Now, meaningful work is making meaning out of what I'm doing. So if I'm a homemaker, taking that on and enjoying that as my calling here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I'm supposed to be. Not I'm just a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
I hear that so much.
Mm-hmm.
Or I just look after my kids and my husband, and there's all the just
And I guess would gratitude really tie back into that,
mm-hmm.
right? Being grateful perhaps for that opportunity,
Right.
to be home with your children. Not
Right.
everybody gets to do that. So
Exactly.
interesting. Okay, last one is letting go of being cool?
Yeah, being cool.
And always in control, and cultivating laughter, song, and dance.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah.
How do we get there?
We just start doing it.
Yeah.
And I think too, it's who you choose to have in your life, as your people, as your playmates, like
Your tribe.
your tribe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I go out and play with them, and how do we do that? When was the last time that we just turned on the music and the whole house went crazy and danced around?
Yeah.
You know, like, and we always incorporate dance in our workshops for fun.
Really?
Because it's a way of stepping outside of our comfort zone.
Oh, especially if you're uncoordinated like me. Do we serve wine at the workshops? This is fabulous, and again, I know that you've said almost each item is an entire workshop. And, you know, I guess in the short term, people can, I know I've watched Brene Brown, I've watched some of her YouTube videos.
It's very fun.
Yeah, she's really awesome. And again, we'll provide a link in our comment section, but Brene, it's spelled B-R-E-N-E, Brown.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a fabulous speaker.
Backward slash on the Brene.
Accent,
Yeah.
whatever. So I'm excited about your workshops coming up. I think this is just absolutely fabulous. You know, for people who are tuning in now, you know, please give us your comments and your feedback. And, you know, would you like to see, you know, maybe Holly dive into some of these little topics and we could do like little mini workshops, you know, maybe on video, something like that. How do people get a hold of you? How do they find out when your workshops are?
Well, certainly through Lahari Studio.
Lahari Yoga, okay, so.
Yeah, yoga. And they're just creating a new website for me, which my boys will be very proud of because, you know,
they've been nagging you. Yes, I hear you, I hear you.
And so that's www.hollytibble.weebly.com.
Okay.
And Weebly is W-E-E-B-L-Y.
Okay, and we can also find you on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, and then there'll be a link through the website there. So, super exciting.
Or you can call Becky.
Or you can call me. Yeah, if you leave a comment, we can hook you up with Holly for sure, because I believe you guys do have an upcoming workshop.
Right, we're doing one on June 24th, and that will run through Lahari. It starts at 6 o'clock on Friday night and runs till 9, and then bright and early Saturday morning from 8 to noon. And we take yoga breaks. And the exciting part is I have clients who never thought they could do yoga, who are learning to breathe. And that's the very first part of living and practice and my practice. And
well, interestingly,
breathing's a good thing.
Yeah, I've just actually completed a 10-session yoga training with Larissa from Lahari Yoga, where we did one-on-one for 10 weeks. And basically, you know, my goal was just to learn how to calm down. You know, it's like some of us need to be with someone to help us guide, you know, through that process. Sometimes it's tricky to do on our own. So
good for you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Holly, for joining us. Next week, we're going to talk about lip injections. And actually, the name of the workshop is going to be The Truth About Lip Injections. So we're going to dive into some topics with that. Please share today's video with friends or family who you think could benefit from Holly's work. And again, leave your comments. We would love to hear from you. Thanks so much. Have an awesome day.